Hello again, welcome to another edition of Crop Life Retail Week. It's a somewhat sleepy-eyed edition after having spent a number of hours last night awaiting election results. How long did you stay up? Did you stay up to the bitter end?
No, actually, I went to bed and actually woke up around 4 o'clock to get the news, but I guess a lot of the country was up to about 2:34 or whenever it was they actually made the announcement. So
I think it was. I finally turned it off at when Trump went up by 3,000. I think in Pennsylvania. I think that was like the fourth quarter touchdown with
nice.
10 seconds left and almost no hope for the other side. But
yeah, actually, I wasn't surprised necessarily by the outcome of the election. What would surprise me was just how unclose it ended up being, because it seemed like it was going to be a lot closer than that based on the early return. So,
although it looks like Hillary was going to win a popular vote, but just state by state by state, he won by
that'll
just
get
enough.
you a cup of coffee.
Yep. In the U.S., that will get you a cup of coffee, for better for worse. So we had our PACE meeting last week where we had a chance to kind of ask a couple of our Beltway friends and what it might mean for either candidate winning, and I think the consensus on Trump was that there really wasn't a lot of knowledge there because his statements have been so declarative. For example, when you're saying going to blow up or dismantle EPA, what exactly does that mean? I think we'd all agree in ag that we'd like to see the EPA's initiatives reeled in. We'd like to see a little more respect for some of the things that ag is doing and understanding, and try to work more closely with what's going on with ag. But dismantling is just too vague to really understand what's going on there. You've got labor and immigration issues, which, if immigration reform indeed comes, that's something that obviously is of keen interest to our folks on the West Coast who are dependent on immigrant labor for crop or harvesting and other tasks. So that's yet another issue. And then, of course, the trade agreements and what happens there is, of course, very keen interest to all of our grower friends, and what happens with those agreements if indeed they get renegotiated or brought back on the table. So there's a lot of uncertainty there. I'm sure there was the politics of hyperbole and probably saying way more than actually will be done or will be able to be worked on, but it certainly has created a lot of uncertainty as to what exactly it's going to mean for ag.
Yeah, and of course I know we have the Farm Bill coming up in 2018, and I know that now that we have the shape of the new president coming into focus, of course the ultimate shape of Congress come 18 will also come into play, I'm sure.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It seems like a lot of things will be able to push through, if we've got a majority across the board, but it's to be seen as to what shape they'll take. Okay. So what else from the PACE meeting did you had some other thoughts on PACE, I think, didn't you?
Not necessarily on PACE, but I know that one of the things I can talk about now that the states are done counting votes in the presidential election, I know we've been following, obviously, the mergers going on in the crop protection marketplace, DuPont and Bayer, Monsanto. Found out just before the PACE meeting that once again the EU has suspended its approval process for the Dow-DuPont merger. They're looking for more information in the EU before moving forward with the hearings they're going to be holding there. But one other interesting note, Paul, is here in the States there's some movement. Like I say, now that the states are no longer busy with the presidential election, it sounds like they are going to get involved with signing off or looking into the Dow-DuPont and Bayer Monsanto deals. And I know that at the moment, which specific states are talking about getting involved isn't definitively known, but one that has been mentioned is California. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of that.
Interesting. Lots of changes, lots of things to watch, and we'll be continuing to watch that. Thanks for joining us for this edition of Crop Life Retail Week, and we'll see you next week.